Hello everyone. So here we are having a question. I hope all of you have already read the question, but if not, then please read it one more time and we are ready to go. Here it is given that a long solid non-conducting cylinder. So first of all, let me draw a long non-conducting cylinder so that it become quite easy to you for understanding purpose. Let's say this is a cylinder. Let me complete it. This is a cylinder and it is having a radius capital R, which is given to us. Let me also draw the axis of the cylinder, which is passing through the center. This is the axis of the cylinder. I hope you can see. Right. Now we need to find out the electric field at a point small r, and small r is actually less than capital R. It simply means the point is actually lying inside of the cylinder, right? So let me take the point this. This is actually the point, and the point of this is having a distance from the axis, which is actually small r. So this is the small r, which is the distance of this point where we need to calculate the electric field from the axis of cylinder, right? As we all know that in order to find out the electric field at this point, we have to draw a Gaussian surface. We have to draw a symmetrical Gaussian surface, which will look like a cylinder, and it must has to pass through this point. Or you can say this Gaussian surface, this point will lie on the surface of the cylindrical Gaussian surface. Let me also draw that one. This is the cylindrical Gaussian surface that I am going to draw with the orange color. I hope you can see the Gaussian surface, the height of the Gaussian surface exactly equals to the height of the cylinder, but the radius is different. Okay, this is the distance, right? So I think we are done with the figure. We have to calculate the electric field at the point. Let's say this is the point. This is the point where we have to calculate the electric field. The orange cylinder, which is the small cylinder, is actually the Gaussian surface, and the yellow colored cylinder, which is actually the actual cylinder, and it is given that this is having a radius capital R. Let me also draw that one. This is actually the complete radius of the external cylinder, which is capital R. This is given to us. Now we have to find out the electric field because of the small cylinder, because of the charges in the small cylinder. As we all know that it is given that it is having a volume charge density, and volume charge density simply means the charge is given by the amount of volume which is happening inside the Gaussian surface. So we at least right now we don't know what is the total amount of charge which is lying inside the Gaussian surface. So first of all, let's find out what is the total amount of charge. I think all of you have remembered that the formula for the volume charge density is dq upon dv. I hope you all remember, right? So if I need to find out the small amount of charge dq, then we do the cross multiplication and the formula will coming out like this. Right now, we also know that dq is equals to rho, and v is for the volume, and this time we have to calculate the volume of this Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface is having the radius r, and the height is actually the same as the former cylinder. Let's take it capital H. I'm going to take the height of the cylinder as capital H. Let me take it. I hope you can see. This is the height of the cylinder, which is small h. So instead of dv, I'm going to write down the volume. So I have written the d as it is. We will differentiate it. V for volume, and volume of the Gaussian surface cylinder is 4 by, no, it's not, it's pi r square h. I hope you all recall that the volume of cylinder is pi r square h, pi r. I'm going to take the small r because we have to consider the Gaussian surface only. This is equals to this one. Now I'm going to differentiate it. This will, pi is constant, so, and h is constant. They are not changing, but r will change. Right now it will change from, in the beginning it is r is small 0, and at this point the r is actually small r. So I'm going to differentiate. R can be written as 2R. Differentiation, after differentiation of R square will be 2R, and this will be 2R dr. dq, which is the small amount of charge, still small, this can be written as 2 pi hr dr. Now in the question it is given that the charge density, volume charge density, as you can see, is proportional to small r. Rho is proportional to small r. As you all know that in order to remove this proportionality sign, we have to put the equal to sign and a constant. So what we should take the constant, let's say, okay, let's take C is a constant of proportionality. So rho is equals to CR. I'm going to put this value here. Okay. So dq is coming out to be rho is equals to CR 2 pi hr dr. Now let's consolidate all of them. So dq is coming out to be 2 pi CHR square dr, right? So this is the total amount of charge dq. Sorry, this is a small amount of charge. In order to find out the total amount of charge, we have to integrate both sides, right? So let's do the integration so that we would be able to find out what is the total amount of charge which is kept inside this Gaussian surface. Okay, let's do it by integrating both sides. So I'm going to write down integrating both the sides. So let me integrate it. When I integrate it, then this will be 0 to q dq, and this will be from 2 pi CHR square dr. And remember, the limits for the r will be from 0 to small r, right? As you all know, all the integration, all the constant term will simply removed from the integration, and dq, this will simply coming out to be small q, right? So I'm going to simply write it. I think we are running out of space, so we have to delete something or we have to make some space. Let me, okay. If you don't mind, can I do it here? Is that okay? No, this is not okay. Okay, don't worry. I hope you have already written this part, so I'm going to delete this. Okay, so let me do it here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to integrate. So this is coming out to be q, limits are q to 0, and 2 pi ch, all are constant, integration r square dr, and this is 0 to r. Okay, this is coming out to be q. You know very well, I'm not going to explain it very much because this is basic integration. R square, we have to do r cube upon 3 and put the limits. So this is coming out to be 2 pi ch upon 3 r cube minus 0 cube, right? So q is coming out to 2 pi ch r cube upon 3. This is actually an important, this is the total charge which is inside this Gaussian surface, and we have to keep it. That's why I have taken equation number 1, and we will going to use in later part of the question. So that's it for here, but this is not the final answer because we have to calculate the total electric field. Now let's do that also. Just a minute. Now, try to understand, we have to calculate the total electric field at this point. This is the point, I hope you can see. Now, this is a Gaussian surface, and we know we have to first of all calculate the total flux which is coming out through this Gaussian surface. I hope you can recall that you must have gone through this thing. The electric field is coming out like this. The area vector is like this. So you can see the angle between these two surfaces on the top surface is actually 90 degree. And we know in order to calculate the flux is having a formula EA cos theta. And right now, when we consider the topmost surface, the theta is coming out to be 90 degree. Is that okay? And cos 90 is 0. So we can simply say the total amount of flux which is coming from the top is actually 0. I hope it is clear. And the total amount, similarly, the total amount of flux which is coming from the bottom part is also equals to 0. You got it? Because once again, theta is equals to 90 degree. You can see this is the electric field direction, this is the area vector, and both are having the direction of 90 degree. So there will be no flux coming out from the bottom and coming out from the top. Okay, so that's it. Now let's talk about this curved surface area. Here you can see the electric field is this way and the area vector is actually this way. So we can see the theta is coming out to be 0 degree and cos 0 is 1. So what we need to do, we need to calculate for phi e, that is total flux coming out through this Gaussian surface. The top part is 0. I hope you got it. EA cos 0. And the bottom part is once again 0. So I have written it. So the phi e is actually coming out to be EA cos theta, where what is E? E is the electric field that we have to calculate, and A is the area. So you need to understand that area that we will going to use is curved surface area of the Gaussian surface. And we all are aware that the curved surface area of cylinder is 2 pi RH. So I'm going to write down 2 pi small r, since we are considering the Gaussian surface. That's why the small r, not the capital one, H, and cos 0 is already 1, so I'm not going to write down. Now this is equation number 2. Now you also remember there is something called the Gauss theorem. Gauss theorem, according to the Gauss theorem, the total flux is called Q net upon epsilon naught. Is that okay, everyone? So can we equate equation number 2 and 3, because both are giving the same quantity, that is flux? Yes, we can equate. And one more thing, before equating or before taking it equation number 3, can I put the value of Q that we have already deduced in equation number 1? Yes, I can put. So I'm going to put it here. This is 2 pi CHR cube upon epsilon naught and 3. This is 3 already there, and I have simply put the epsilon naught. Now this is equation number 3. Now can I equate equation number 2 and 3? Yes, I do, because both are giving the same quantity, that is electric flux. So let me also delete this part. You must have noted it. Now we are having some space, so we can equate. So I'm going to write down equating equation 2 and 3. So let's do it. E into 2 pi RH is equals to 2 pi CHR cube upon 3 epsilon naught. Now you can see very well that there are lots of things which are going to be cancelled. 2 pi cancel out, H cancel out with the H, and yes, here it is R cube, here it is R. So if I cancel it, it is coming out to be R square. So ultimately we have seen that the final expression which is coming, E R E is equals to C R square upon 3 epsilon naught. So this is the final amount of electric field that is available at a distance small r. As the R increases, electric field will also increases, as you can see, if small r is less than capital R, right? So, but right now we have just to find out what is the relation between electric field and R, and you can see electric field is directly proportional to R square. So according to the question, according to the options given, which option is correct? Well, I hope you can see the second, or the B option, is absolutely correct.